Good afternoon. We're going to get started in about 10 minutes. I have included the link to today's presentation in the chat box. Good afternoon. We're going to get started in about 6 minutes. If you could just let me know through chat if you can hear me. Also, I have included the link to today's presentation in the chat box. Okay, good afternoon. This is Courtney Neubauer. I am here today to present the Division of Nutrition Support monthly call. I'm including the link to the presentation in the chat box. So feel free to click on that link and you should be able to access the slides for today's presentation. So today we're going to go over a few things in a little bit more detail than others, but I wanted to include a comprehensive kind of go-to guide for you over the next few weeks as we move into the summer. So I've included a lot in the slides so that you can access them later and have what you need at your fingertips. And some of it will go into detail on, and then others will just brush back over, and you can access it later at in your own time. So to start, we'll talk about the Teacher Leader Summit. So the Teacher Leader Summit virtual series started today, and so we'll talk about that. The state oversight plan and reviews for school year 21-22, the child nutrition emergency cost guidance and where we are with that, school year 21-22 food service operations. We'll also touch on the community eligibility provision, emergency broadband benefit program, PEBT 2021, and the local level funding for schools, summer food service operations, training updates, and then some other general program updates. So to start, the Teacher Leader Summit, the virtual series starts today. And I am inviting all of you to register for the virtual series. And if you do so, you can also register to hear me speak again. So I will be presenting next Wednesday. I have 2 sessions to talk about child nutrition programs. I also encourage you to encourage your teacher friends, your principal friends that are attending the Teacher Leader Summit to attend the sessions that we are teaching on child nutrition programs. I'm hoping they will be very enlightening to a lot of our school system leaders and educators to learn about what we do and especially what we've done over the last year. So the virtual series is limited to 8,000 registrants. You can register. The in-person event was last week, but this week starts the virtual series. So registration now is $65 for the virtual series, and they will the sessions will go through next week. The state oversight plan, so we'll move on to that. So just last week, we received the waiver to provide flexibility for administrative reviews in school year 21-22. This waiver is very helpful as it really gives us some guidance as what we will be doing next school year when it comes to reviews, but it also still leaves a lot of questions to be answered. So at this point, we don't have a clear picture of exactly what the reviews will look like, but we do know that the reviews will continue or they will return for school year 21-22. So this waiver waives certain school meal program administrative review criteria in order to ensure that state agencies are able to conduct administrative reviews when SFAs are only operating the seamless summer option in school year 21-22. So in short, if you are a school system and you are going to choose to operate the seamless summer option in school year 21-22, we will be able to conduct administrative reviews. SFAs that were scheduled for administrative reviews in school year 2021, those received technical assistance. Those reviews have been postponed until school year 21-22, and ARs will occur in school year 21-22. Reviews that were originally planned for school year 21-22 will now occur in school year 22-23. At this time, we have not received any additional administrative review guidance as to what exactly the review will look like for 21-22, but we do know that they will occur, and we will provide that guidance to you as soon as it is made available to us. What we do know is that in addition to the reviews taking place next year, that we do also have the waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements in the school meals programs. And this is effective from July 1, which is the start of the school year of 21-22, until 30 days after the end of the public health emergency. So that date is still to be determined. So as we get to a normal place within our society, we expect that we will eventually come to the end of this pandemic. And when that does occur, and that announcement is made by the federal government, we as a state agency will have 30 days to then start resuming on-site visits of school systems. So this waiver allows for that on-site portion of the administrative review to be conducted through off-site means, so through desk audit. It also allows SFAs that when they conduct their own on-site monitoring to be conducted through off-site means. And this is for the National School Lunch, School Breakfast program, as well as the Seamless Summer option, which falls under the National School Lunch, School Breakfast program. We also have a waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements for state agencies in the Child and Adult Care Food Program. And the effective dates of this waiver are October 1, 2021 until 30 days after the end of the public health emergency. And the reason why the start of this waiver is October 1st is because that is the start of their year. So they run on the fiscal year, the federal fiscal year, which runs October 1 through September 30th. And there is also a waiver in place that waives the on-site monitoring requirements through September 30th, 2021 already. And this allows for that same on-site portion of the monitoring review to be conducted through off-site means. And do know that even though these waivers do exist to be able to conduct through desk audits, we do still go on site and have started to resume on-site visits much more frequently than we have over the last year. So we are excited to go out to school systems and have really started to increase the frequency in which we are returning to on-site visits. Now we'll jump to the Child Nutrition Emergency Cost Guidance. So this is just an overview of that emergency cost guidance. This is intended to provide additional funding for program operators who saw a decrease in revenue due to the early days of the public health emergency. And this is not intended to address funding. It is intended to address funding shortfalls, but it is not intended to address the increased costs that may be associated with COVID-19. The payment formula is tied to past reimbursements, and these funds will be deposited to the nonprofit food service account and can be used in accordance with normal program requirements. So it can be spent on traditional allowable costs of program operations. So some key dates: the initial application was due to USDA by February 25th, and we submitted our plan on February the 10th. The implementation plan was due by May 10th, and we submitted our plan on May 3rd. On June 30th is when USDA recommends that states begin to disperse funds to SFAs. Do know that this date of disbursement is related to the approval of the implementation plan. And at this point on June 1st, we have not received approval for our implementation plan. So this date of June 30th could vary depending on the approval of that particular plan. September 30th, 2021 is when all funds must be obligated to program operators, and the state must have all funds distributed by January 31st, 2022. And program operators do not need to submit an application to receive these funds. So you have not missed some deadline by not submitting information. We used the information from past claims to determine eligibility and to determine the amounts which school systems would receive. So there is nothing you need to do from your end. As soon as we get approval from that implementation plan, we will start providing more information out to you all, and we will start dispersing funds when we get to that point. And it will not be before July 1st, but it could be delayed due to the approval of that implementation plan. The guidance that you can refer to about the emergency cost. So there is a guidance and questions and answers that was released in January, and the link is in this slide. You can also refer to memo SFS 21-83 for additional information. And then there was an additional guidance document, the implementation plan guidance, that was released in March, as well as a second set of questions and answers. We did also host a training on the emergency cost in April, and the recording and the slides are available on the Louisiana Fit Kids website. School year 21-22 food service operations and waiver updates. So we have multiple child nutrition waivers for school year 21-22 that have been released. This new suite of waivers are meant to support school reopening for school year 21-22. It provides increased funding, it supports access and balance operational needs with the goal of providing nutritious meals. Please note that many of these waivers are new waivers and not necessarily extensions of previous waivers. Although they may look similar, some of the details may be slightly different, therefore being a new waiver and not an extension of a previous waiver. The school year 21-22 waivers are all linked here. So we have the waiver to allow seamless summer option through school year 21-22, the waiver to allow the summer food service reimbursement rates in school year 21-22, the waiver to allow non-congregate meal service, the waiver of mealtime flexibility, the waiver to allow parents and guardians to pick up meals, a very specific meal pattern waiver for school meal pattern in school year 21-22. Also very specific meal pattern flexibilities for the child and adult care food program, offer versus serve flexibility for senior high schools, the waiver of area eligibility in after school programs and for family daycare home providers, nationwide waiver of the on-site monitoring in school meals programs, the nationwide waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements for state agencies in child and adult care food program, and then also the nationwide waiver of monitoring requirements for sponsors in the child and adult care food program. These waivers will be available through the child nutrition online application, so our CNP online application, once that is released. And so waiver opt-ins for school year 21-22 will be available once we open up the new school year application. So at this point, there is not anywhere that you would need to opt into these waivers. That will come with the release of the online application for school year 21-22. So first, the waiver to allow the seamless summer option through school year 21-22. So this is for the entire school year. And so this allows for SFAs at any school, regardless of its location, to operate the seamless summer option. And that can be done as either open or closed enrolled sites. So this waiver allows for operators to operate seamless summer during the regular school year, can serve all children 18 and under They receive meals at no charge. Meals do not need to be counted and claimed by eligibility category. Area eligibility waiver is not necessary, so all schools can participate regardless of location or percentage of students that are eligible for free and reduced price meals, and you can operate as open or closed enrolled sites. Do note that only 2 meals can be served under the seamless summer option, and typically that is breakfast and lunch. After school snacks can also be served, but that would be under the National School Lunch After School Snack Program or CACFP at-risk meals in school year 21-22. The next waiver is the waiver to allow the Sfsp reimbursement rates. So this is also for the entire school year, and this allows for SFAs who choose to operate the seamless summer option to claim meals and snacks at the summer food service reimbursement rates. If the school food authority chooses to operate the National School Lunch Program and not the seamless summer option in school year 21-22, they will not receive the Sfsp reimbursement rates for meals and snacks served. So it is only the higher reimbursement rates for school food authorities who elect to operate the seamless summer option in school year 21-22. So even though the higher reimbursements are available for school systems operating the seamless summer option, the summer food service program is not extended. So seamless summer option better positions schools to serve more nutritious meals. So your options in school year 21-22 are either to operate the seamless summer option with the summer food service reimbursement rates, or the traditional National School Lunch School Breakfast program with traditional National School Lunch School Breakfast reimbursement rates. So this is just a kind of a picture to show the 2 options for school year 21-22. So you can operate the seamless summer option in school year 21-22. If you choose to do that, you would serve all meals to students enrolled at your school. You also can elect to be an open site, and then you can also serve children in the community ages 18 and under. All students receive meals free of charge, and the reimbursement provided is at the summer food service rate, which is the highest reimbursement you would receive for meals. The other option is that you can operate the regular National School Lunch Program in school year 21-22. You would then serve meals only to students enrolled at your school. Meal counts would be by each student's free, reduced, or paid eligibility, and the reimbursement for meal is based on that student's free and reduced or paid eligibility. If you do choose to operate the seamless summer option, you have 2 options here. You can operate as a closed enrolled site or an open site. If you choose to operate as a closed enrolled site, you would serve meals only to the students enrolled at your school, and all students would receive meals free of charge. Your other option is to operate as an open site, and you would serve meals to students enrolled at your school and also children in the community age 18 and under. And all children would receive meals free of charge. So the allowability of child nutrition programs during school year 21-22. So your options are to serve the seamless summer option, the National School Lunch School Breakfast program. You can also serve at-risk after-school meals, and you can serve the fresh fruit and vegetable program if that is a program that you currently operate. And what is not allowed is the summer food service program. So the National School Lunch After School Snack and or the at-risk after school meals can be served while operating seamless summer, but summer food service is not an option for school year 21-22. So there are some additional waivers to promote operational flexibility, and these are the non-congregate meals, the mealtime flexibility, parent guardian pickup, and offer versus serve flexibility. And these waivers are intended to be used only for the duration and extent that it is needed. So what exactly does that mean? So that means that if you do not need to use any of these flexibilities, then you would not opt into them. If you would only need them for a short duration of time, so if you have the majority of your kids coming in person, or maybe even all of your kids coming in person, then there may not be a need for non-congregate meals or mealtime flexibility. So our goal is to get as close to a normal operation as possible, but these waivers are here if you need them. And there is a question, if you choose to operate the seamless summer option, can you serve after school snack in the National School Lunch Program? And the answer is yes. So if you are operating seamless summer, your after school meals programs would either be through the traditional National School Lunch after school snack, or the at-risk after school meals through the Child and Adult Care Food Program. So the waivers that we are talking about right now are the waivers to allow the non-congregate meal service. And so these dates are for the entire school year. And this is very similar to the non-congregate waiver that we've seen basically for the last 14 months. This is for all programs, so National School Lunch, School Breakfast, Seamless Summer, and CACFP. And this removes the requirements that meals must be served in a congregate setting. And like I said, this is very similar to what we've seen in the past since last March. The waiver of mealtime requirements, this is also very similar to what we've seen before. This allows for meals to be served outside the standard meal times, and you have the flexibility to provide meal pickup for students that are learned virtually, or grab and go for students that may be learning in school. And you do still need to have meal times, so you still must set your own meal times, but they don't have to fall within the federal requirements for meal times. And this is also for National School Lunch, School Breakfast, Seamless Summer, and CACFP. Delivery of meals to homes. So this isn't really a waiver, but this is something that we are tracking and we are monitoring and we are approving. So the non-congregate waiver and the mealtime flexibility and in combination is what allows for the ability to provide meals through delivery. And it also is what allows for the multi-day pickup of meals. So those two waivers together is what allows for a lot of the flexibilities that we've seen over the last year. The sponsor must obtain written consent from households of eligible children if they want to receive meals, and all delivery plans must be approved by the state agency prior to providing meals to homes. The waiver to allow parent guardian pickup, the effective date is also for the entire school year, and this allows for parents or guardians to pick up meals for their children, so the children do not need to be present. You do need to have a documented process to ensure meals are distributed only to parents and guardians, and that duplicate meals are not distributed. And this is also for all programs as well, so National School Lunch, School Breakfast, Seamless Summer, and CACFP. The waiver to allow offer versus serve flexibilities to senior high school students. This is for National School Lunch or Seamless Summer, and that is because the requirement for offer versus serve is only a requirement at lunch for high school kids. So everywhere else, it is completely optional. So this is the only time that it is absolutely required, is that you would have senior high schools for lunch. So what does this waiver do? It makes that completely optional. So there is no age grade group or meal that you are required to do offer versus serve, but you are able to, and you do have the option to have offer versus serve available in breakfast and lunch for all age grade groups, but there is not a group that it is required in for this next school year. So this next waiver, the waiver of specific school meal pattern flexibility. So this is a very different waiver than we've seen thus far. So the effective dates are October 1st through June 30th. And the reason why it has an October 1st start date is because we also have a previous meal pattern waiver that is available through September 30th. And so that is the Child Nutrition Response number 74. But this waiver is very, very specific meal pattern flexibilities that are available to program operators. And we'll go over on the next slide exactly what those are. And the programs that this would apply to would be National School Lunch, School Breakfast, and Seamless Summer Option. The following very specific meal requirements are what are considered waived with this waiver. That menus meet the dietary specification for sodium, that all grains offered must be whole grain rich, that for preschoolers, at least one serving per day must be whole grain rich, to offer a variety of vegetables from the vegetable subgroups, to offer a variety, at least 2 different options of fluid milk, that low-fat milk must be unflavored, and to plan menus and offer food components for specific age grade groups in the stated combinations. So all of these waivers, we would be approved on a case-by-case basis, except for sodium. So sodium would not require a whole lot of justification. So that one we will be approving fairly easily. All the rest of these, you would need to have appropriate justification as to why that waiver is needed. And so when you're trying to think about what those appropriate justifications would be, let's just say you're asking for a waiver of the whole grain rich requirement. So you are not able in this next school year to offer all of your grains whole grain rich. And the reason why is because you have a lot of leftover grain. So you have a lot of enriched white rice. You have a lot of enriched white flour. You have a lot of enriched white pasta left in your storeroom that you really need to use up. And so without using those, you'd have to throw them away and it would be a big loss. And so you would need to ask for flexibility to be able to not serve all your grains whole grain rich. And your reason would be is you have a lot of non-whole grain rich product in your inventory that you really need to use up. Another reason may be that you're not able to offer the components for the specific age grade group. So you are still serving all of your meals in the classroom. And so you are still using the 3 compartment boxes. And so your staff is still in next school year delivering those to the classroom. And so you're unable to serve 1 cup of fruit and 1 cup of vegetable to the high school kids because they're, you're bringing all the boxes for 6 through 12 all together, and it would be very difficult to figure out who fits into the K to 8 group and who fits into the 9 to 12 group, and they're all going to the classroom. And so, just with the meal service model that you're doing, you're not able to meet that meal pattern for both age grade groups. So you may request to be able to utilize the K to 8 meal pattern in this particular school while you're still feeding kids in the classroom. And you may only need that for the first couple of months until maybe the kids start resuming normal lunch operations and are returning to the class, to the cafeteria as normal. So those are just some examples to think about as to what may be some good justification when asking for these particular flexibilities. So this meal pattern waiver provides flexibilities to SFAs for those specific meal pattern requirements on the previous slide. All other meal pattern requirements remain in effect. And these specific flexibilities are meant to support schools with operating alternative meal service models and still support social distancing efforts. This meal pattern waiver does not allow SFAs to not serve an entire component, to serve less than their required amounts to meet the daily and weekly requirements, or provide flexibilities for meeting the meal pattern requirements due to product shortages or delivery issues. There's also a waiver of the meal pattern flexibilities in CACFP, and these are very specific as well, just as we saw with the school meal pattern. The following requirements are waived: that at least one serving per grain or per day of grain must be whole grain rich, that crediting of grains by ounce equivalents must be fully implemented by October 1st, and that low-fat milk must be unflavored. Another regulation that just recently came out that also influences the meal pattern is the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021. And so this act allows for the substitution of vegetables for fruit under the school breakfast program. It prohibits funds from being used to procure raw or processed poultry products from the People's Republic of China. It provides guidance related to pricing of paid lunches for the National School Lunch Program during school year 21-22, and allows the offering of low-fat 1% flavored milk in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program. The next waiver, the waiver of the area eligibility in the after-school programs and the family daycare home providers, allows schools and at-risk after-school centers to claim all meals and snacks at the free rate regardless of a location, and also allows the family daycare homes to claim meals at the Tier 1 rate regardless of location. And so this is for National School Lunch After-School Snack and CACFP. The after-school meals enrichment requirement is not waived. So the enrichment component is a requirement for service of all after-school snacks or suppers. Guidance has allowed this to be done digitally if necessary, and enrichment activities should include options that are accessible to all participating children. Now we'll touch on the community eligibility provision. The population data form and the CEP worksheet are open on this child nutrition website. You can see memo SFS 21-X157 for instructions. Even though school food authorities may be operating the seamless summer option and all meals will be free, the CEP population form and the CEP worksheet must be completed. And we do have a CEP training tomorrow, which is Wednesday, June 2nd at 1 p.m. So the waiver of the community eligibility provision deadlines. So this waiver extends the deadlines related to CEP reporting and election during COVID-19. So normally we know that our data must be as of April 1st, and this year it is any time between July 1st and June 30th that you can pull data from. The due date is June 30th, so you must fill out the population data no later than June 30th, and final elections for school year 21-22 must be made by September 30th. And I know often we wonder, why is this even important when all schools will be free next year through seamless summer? And there's multiple reasons. So one, some school systems are seeing an increase of identified students this year. So it's a really good year to elect CEP, and then that percentage could then be used for the 3 years after this next school year, and everybody would continue to be free. Another reason may be for some of the ancillary services that benefit from that CEP election. So we've seen PEBT, the emergency broadband benefits. Sometimes it's ACT testing fees. So a lot of other services use that CEP data. So electing CEP can also help some of those ancillary services that rely on that data. So by June 30th, SFAs must submit the population data form, and then that information is drawn from the data between July 1st and June 30th. And then by September 30th, SFAs must make their final decision for CEP for school year 21-22. Grace year, I know this is something that tends to be a little confusing. So an SFA or school in the fourth year of CEP with an identified student percentage of less than 40%, but at least 30%, may continue participating in CEP for one grace year. And this gives them the opportunity to restore eligibility status without immediately resuming standard counting and claiming, and avoids disruptions in the universal meals to students. And the reimbursement is typically relies on that percentage that is determined in that fourth year. And where we're seeing that this is probably really beneficial is for a lot of school systems that are in that fourth year, to be able to elect a grace year would then allow just one more year of that free benefit for all of these ancillary services, and it really would help with some of these other programs that rely on that data. So we are seeing that some of our school systems are looking at electing a grace year. So because it doesn't actually influence the reimbursement of meals, there may be other benefits and reasons why you may want to elect a grace year into this next school year. Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. So this is a new temporary benefit where low-income households can receive a $50 a month credit toward broadband services. And the USDA Food Nutrition Services have been providing technical assistance because people qualify when they participate in SNAP or free or reduced price lunch. And so the expectation is that this should not require anything from school nutrition, but we want to make sure that you're aware of this since it does rely on food data from free and reduced price meals or participation in SNAP. So it is possible that that families reach out to the child nutrition programs for questions about the program. And so there is a frequently asked question document and also other information on the program to better explain the emergency broadband benefit program. But this, once again, is just really for informational purposes so that you're aware of what's going on if you were to get questions about the emergency broadband benefit program. PEBT 21-20 school year 2021, and also the local level funding for schools. PEBT, as we know, provides benefits to students who have temporarily lost access to free or reduced price meals. To be eligible, a school campus must meet the following criteria. They must be a provider of the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program. And then also they have to have been closed or had reduced in-person attendance for 5 consecutive instructional days. And then eligible students must meet the following criteria. So they must be enrolled in one of those schools that participates in the National School Lunch Program, and then also be certified for free or reduced price meals in the school year 2021. So how does a student qualify? So a student must meet the following 2 criteria for each month that they would receive benefits. So 1, they have to attend a school that participates in the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program, and they would either need to qualify for free or reduced price lunch through direct certification or free or reduced price application, or they have to attend a CEP school. And then once that criteria is met, they also would need to either attend or have attended school in either a hybrid or virtual learning model for any of the months of the school year. So each month is looked at individually. So you're looking at that student's qualifications for August, September, October, and so on. So if a student attended school in person for the entire school year for every month of the school year, then they would not qualify for this round of PEBT. So this is very different than the previous PEBT distribution for last school year. So this year we're using direct certification, and with direct certification, there's no application process and doesn't require any action by the families. DCFS uses the student data that's provided by the school districts and then will issue the benefits. And students will receive their PEBT benefits on a new PEBT card, and a separate card will be issued for each student in the household. This means that each student will receive a card in that student's name. And previously, one card was issued in the parents' guardians' names for all of the children. And benefits are also going to be retroactive in installments back to August of 2020. There is a communication toolkit available for school systems and schools to keep families informed. There's also sample messaging that can be tailored to specific needs. This includes letters to families, text alerts, social media posts. There's also a frequently asked question document and other communication resources, and these pages are continuously updated. In addition to the PEBT benefits that are issued to families, there's also the PEBT local level funding for schools. In addition to benefits that are to the families, there's also this benefit, and it is strictly for activities related to this fiscal year 2021 PEBT. And so we at the Department of Education, Division of Nutrition Support, are responsible for providing that funding to schools. And fiscal year 21 PEBT benefits are those activities that occurred between October 2020 and September 2021 in conjunction with PEBT benefits. And this would be benefits for school year 2021 and summer 2021. So what this would be for the period of time that they're just now issuing benefits for. So any activities related to this issuance that will be happening very soon with the data request that was due last I think it was due Friday. So the benefits will be those benefits are the ones that are covered in this time frame. Districts that opted to operate the seamless summer option or the summer food service in school year 2021 are also eligible for this benefit. Eligible expenses are not limited to a specific school, department, or unit. So it does not necessarily mean that expenses have to be solely of the child nutrition department. So if your school system decides to hire somebody to answer phones related to questions for PEBT, they can do that. If it is that there was some development of software that needed to be paid for, and that is typically a software program that is used by your SIS department, those costs could still be claimed for reimbursement. So it does not have to be strictly expenses that are related to child nutrition. It can be from any department within the school system if those are related to the issuance of the PEBT benefits. So some examples of allowable reimbursement costs would be limited salaries of personnel, equipment costs, system costs, support services or contract costs, supplies, or other indirect costs. And SFAs must keep a record of all those costs, and documentation may be audited by OIG, LDOE, and USDA. Unallowable costs would be costs that were not necessary or responsible for the administration of the FY21 PEBT. And expenses already reimbursed under another federal award. So you cannot charge two funding sources for the same expense. And you also cannot charge costs incurred for FY20 PEBT, these were the benefits that were issued last summer. To receive funding, there were two collection periods. So the first collection period is May 2021, which was it was due last week, and then August 2021. So the submission to deadline of August 2021, the exact date has not been determined, and you can request in August anything through the remainder of the school year, and it can be any expenses that you're incurring right now that could have been submitted for that May deadline. And we will start reimbursing schools by September 30th. Summer food service operations. So ready or not, summer's here. So I know as a parent, I have a love-hate relationship with summer. So sometimes there's more fighting between my kids in summer, but they're ready to have a break. So I'm sure most of you feel the same way. So in the child nutrition programs for summer 2021, we have the summer food service program, seamless summer option. Also, you can extend the national school lunch program if you're a year-round school. The two programs that are not allowed in summer 2021 are the at-risk after-school meals and also the fresh fruit and vegetable program. And so we have confirmed with USDA in writing that the CFP at-risk program and the fresh fruit and vegetable program must end when the school year ends. So there are a few resources you can refer to for summer operations. So online application, that memo is here, guidance for extending Sfsp into the summer months. Also, the list of vendors that you could that we're maintaining that you could contract with, and we're always adding to that as more vendors are submitting their information to that website. Also, make sure you're communicating with LDH regarding permits for all of your non-school sites. We have also posted the tentative summer review schedule, and then please check over your waiver selections and make sure that those are that you've elected all of the waivers that you intended to for summer operations. This is also just a list of all of the waivers that are available in summer 21. These waivers are intended just for summer operations. So seamless summer or summer food service can be used in the summer program until school starts, but you cannot use the summer food service program during the regular school year. In addition to, there's this new memo that came out just a few weeks ago about the collection of race and ethnicity data. This is particularly related to summer feeding and also CACFP. So the visual observation and identification by sponsors is no longer an acceptable practice. Ideal method would be to self-identify or self-report of race or ethnicity. And there are alternative methods like using other sources like school databases. We are still waiting for additional guidance from USDA. So at this time, we're not recommending that you make any changes to your processes to gather this data, just to start, just to no longer continue that self-identification, the visual identification. So that practice needs to stop, but to what needs to be done in its place, we are still waiting for further guidance from USDA. Training updates. So all of our trainings are still on Louisiana Fit Kids, which you all are aware of. After the training, you should complete the questionnaire. So if you go back to Louisiana Fit Kids, go to the calendar, click on today's date. Right above the registration, you have it says click here to complete the questionnaire. So you can complete the questionnaire there. And then also you will receive a follow-up email with confirming attendance in the training hours. Registration for our June trainings are open. We do not have that many trainings in June scheduled. The training slides and recorded videos, when they are available, are posted to the Louisiana Fit Kids website. So our upcoming virtual trainings, we have registration for the following June trainings. So tomorrow, CEP updates, and then on Wednesday, the 23rd, we have policy guidance. And then our next monthly call will be Tuesday, July 6th at 1 p.m. Manager training. So you can request manager training for your SFA or combinations of other SFAs in your area. It's at no cost. You need to have a minimum of 10 participants. It can be virtual or in person, and you can have a customized schedule. And you can refer to this link and the memo for more information. We also have 2 summer manager training courses offered. So they are available on Louisiana Fit Kids. The training dates are June 14th through 17th or July 26th through 29th. The assessment will be conducted online. All participants are required to be proctored by the child nutrition director and his or her designee. And you need to make sure that there's a location available that will accommodate the test takers and allow for supervision. Additional training opportunities. So we have child nutrition, the CN Resource Learning Library has recordings of the AR technical assistance cohort, as well as additional 5 to 10 minute trainings. The LGOE recorded trainings are located on page 10 of resources of our website. The Institute of Child Nutrition iLearn, which has some self-paced free online learning resources, and also team nutrition resources. Other program updates, eScholar updates. So we are working closely with eScholar on a project that will improve the matching system, and we intend to go live for school year 21-22. The improved system will allow schools to match student enrollment data against program records, and the updated system will support multiple programs such as SNAP, TANF, foster care, migrant. We'll also have DC extended and manual matching in the eScholar system. And we are testing the system now, and we'll start reaching out to a few SFAs to assist with testing, and we intend to go live for school year 21-22. The income eligibility guidelines have been released for school year 21-22, and they are posted on our website. Also, the pre-approved equipment list is still available. It's posted on the website. If the equipment is not on the list, then you'll need to ask for approval through the Louisiana Equipment Purchase Pre-Approval Form. You can send that to our main email address of childnutritionprograms@la.gov. Procurement update. So on May 26th, the governor did extend the emergency procurement proclamation, and that is good until June 23rd, 2021. And do know, as the state begins to reopen, you should return to following standard procurement guidelines. We are not sure when the suspension of this procurement standards will no longer be included. And so as you approach the next school year, you should begin to procure appropriately. Especially as we still have time to do so. So as we know what's coming for next school year, we strongly encourage you to begin procuring using standard procurement practices as we move into school year 21-22, as we don't know if these suspensions will continue we don't know how long they will continue. The data sharing agreement and addendums, they are past due. If you have not submitted that, you need to get that in ASAP. The deadline was May 14th, and we still have numerous that are outstanding. If we do not receive this document, it could jeopardize participation and your reimbursement in the National School Lunch, School Breakfast, Seamless Summer, and Summer Food Service Program. We also have our newly adopted the discrimination complaint form, which will replace all of our previous discrimination complaint forms. This form is on our website. Please make sure that you're using this. And I know we spend our summers updating our forms and getting our schools all ready for the next school year. So please make sure you're printing off the most recent discrimination complaint form and also the most recent complaint procedures, which is also available on our website. This is a fill in the blank document, and it is a pretty standardized document that you will need to use within your program. And so this is just a reminder that we need to go ahead and get those forms utilized for next school year, especially as we're beginning to get all of our schools ready for the start of school year 21-22. Seeds to Success. So this is the brand of the Louisiana Farm to School program. So this has been updated. So we have updated the brand to be Seeds to Success. And so this is please go to the website if you haven't already been there. It's a wonderful resource. Their Facebook page is phenomenal. There's all kinds of great pictures of schools and kids growing all kinds of fresh produce. So Seeding Louisiana is a small piece of that Seeds to Success program. And so step one is the windowsill greenhouse kits. So schools were sent those last school year, and we'll have another round that will be sent out in the fall. And then from there, the next step is the Earthbox growing system. And so many of our schools that have already participated in the windowsill greenhouse will now start receiving Earthbox growing systems. There's also other educational lesson plans and growing guides available on the website. So I encourage you to refer to the website for more information. Turn Up the Beat. So this recognizes outstanding summer meal program sponsors. And if you used waivers to support program operations during COVID-19, you are still eligible, and nominations are due to us by September 10th. And now I'll open it up to questions. I think I do see a few questions that have already appeared in the chat box. So the first question, since all kids are eating free, do you still need to complete this community eligibility provision data used to calculate ISP? And the answer is yes. So even though everybody will be free next year, you still are required to complete the community eligibility population data and CEP worksheet. The next question is, will free and reduced applications be required in school year 21-22? This is a great question. So we received some very tentative answer to this question just earlier today, and you can still collect applications under NSLP as you normally would. If you do collect applications, they would be subject to verification. We are still waiting on additional guidance as to how this will work. So typically under Seamless Summer, there are not meal applications, but we do know that some families become newly eligible for free and reduced price meals, and that would influence some of these other programs as well as additional funding. So sometimes those meal applications help us in ways that are not just about free meals. And so you may find that you still would like to collect those meal applications in school year 21-22. And if you do, then they would be subject to verification. If for PEBT, since the PEBT benefits are retroactive to the beginning of the school year, if a parent was to complete an application in May and be approved, would they get benefits back to the beginning of the school year? And so when we process meal applications, our meal applications are always, based on the date in which they're processed. So we would not be able to approve that status back to the beginning of the school year. So that status would be as of May. So that child may benefit from PEBT for the month of May. But if they did not qualify for free or reduced price meals in the previous months, then they would not necessarily receive benefits for those months. The monthly calls are changing to the first Tuesday of the month versus the first Thursday of the month. So today is the first Tuesday, and our monthly calls will move to the first Tuesday of the month and will no longer be on the first Thursday. The reason why this is because many of our school systems, especially our small school systems, have a role of being both the data manager and the child nutrition supervisor. And so the data management monthly call is on the first Thursday of the month. And so to assist with allowing for those individuals that really need to attend both of them, we've changed the date of our call to the first Tuesday of the month. So going forward, starting today, they will be on the first Tuesday of the month at 1 o'clock. We do not have a new meal application for school year 21-22. And if this is your question, I can't see who it's from, please reach out to me. So there at this point is not a whole lot of reason why a school system would not want to opt into seamless summer for school year 21-22. So we don't have an application right now, but the application is very simple to change the year on that. So that will probably be the recommendation of USDA. But if you're considering not opting into the seamless summer option and continuing traditional national school lunch, please reach out so we can talk about some of the benefits with operating the seamless summer and that higher reimbursement. Okay, are there any other questions? There's a question about what other form of information can be used to determine free or reduced priced eligibility. So we do have many school systems that, especially CEP school systems, who have chosen to use what we would consider an income survey. So there is a document that was modified by the data management team within the department. And so that can be used for identifying children who would have been eligible for free or reduced priced meals. And that could influence the eligibility for MFP and other funding that the state may provide. So income eligibility, the income surveys have become a very popular alternative for school systems who may not be utilizing free and reduced price meal applications because they may be CEP. So those surveys, there is a document on our website. If you reach out to me, I can provide you the most recent survey, but there is a, I'm looking for it real quick, on our website that has the information. It's not, I'm not seeing it right in the moment, but if you send me an email, I can tell you, I can send you the most recent survey that was released by data management. If you could, if you're looking for the survey, if you could email me, so you can email me directly or the child nutrition programs at la.gov. Most of you used the link that Kathy Champagne sent out. So I'm not able to see who you are. So many of you are all Kathy Champagne. So please email me so I know who to send this to, because I'm not able to determine who some of you are through the chat box. The question is, do you still have to complete the Schedule A if utilizing the seamless summer? And the answer is yes. So what we are intending to do is to have the online application for the National School Lunch School Breakfast program also be it's going to be required, and then we're going to have the seamless summer option, the waiver also to be submitted at that same time. And so we are hoping to have that by the 3rd or 4th week of June. We'd like to say sooner, but I'm going to say 3rd or 4th week because I feel safe saying that. And have that open, and then we will set the deadline at that time and let you know what that deadline would be. And so you can go ahead and wait for that memo to come, but we'll open the website and we'll let you know the due date at that time. Do know that you cannot submit a claim until that application is submitted and approved. So the sooner you can get that into us, the sooner we can approve it, and you'll be able to submit a claim. So the longer you wait to submit those applications, the longer it would be before they get approved, and therefore you would not be able to submit a claim for reimbursement. So the income eligibility surveys cannot be used to increase CEP identified student percentage. So the survey is meant to capture the students who may have been eligible for free or reduced price meals in the absence of a meal application. And so even kids that were identified as free or reduced priced on an income survey or a meal application would not go to support the identified student percentage, as that is only intended to be students that are identified through some other means, so direct certification or some other means other than a meal application. So the income surveys would not be able to be used to increase the CEP percentage. Any other questions? So there's a question: if there were no free or reduced applications in school year 20, if there are no free and reduced priced applications for school year 21-22, what data would be used for PEBT? And at this point for school year 21-22, I don't know. So we don't know if there will be PEBT in 21-22, although we've seen it all of this year. So my thought is that it will still be here next year, but I don't know that for a fact. But we, if it is, you know, it may be guidance similar to what we saw this year. And so what we saw this year is that if there were not applications for school year 2021, that the status of a child from school year 1920 could be used to support PEBT. So as we get closer into school year 21-22, I do hope that we will see guidance from USDA, but that is what the guidance was for school year 2021. So if we do see PEBT in school year 21-22, it may be similar to that, but I don't know for a fact at this point. Also, I don't even know if there will be PEBT in school year 21-22. Any other questions? I thank y'all all for coming. I know that for many of you, this is your summer has started. And so taking time, to listen on during summer is sometimes, easier, but then sometimes harder. So some of you might be on vacation. So I do thank you for coming to listen. And like I said, our next update will be on the first Tuesday of July, which will be July the 6th. So right after another holiday. So right after July the 4th. And most of you are probably off on July the 5th. So once again, right after another holiday. But if you have any other questions, you can either email the child nutrition programs at la.gov, or you can email me directly if you have specific questions, and we would be happy to answer those for you. So thank you all. If you have anything else that you need, please reach out to us, and hope you have a good week and a good month, and hopefully a really good summer. And we'll start off next school year, hopefully a little bit closer to normal than we did this past year.